Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to an episode of Outside the Panels. I am your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, sporting the Dolphins cap. Yes, I know it's the off season. You can't start supporting those Fins too early. Here this time around with yet another fantastic creator to talk about their new crowdfunding book that's due to hit out this month. I'm talking to the fantastically talented Leslie Julian.
Hey. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing pretty good, minus the dental work I had done recently, but I'm doing pretty good, all things considered.
Excellent. Very good. So you've got a new book coming out. It's on a crowdfunder. That's going to be cool. So let's have a quick look at the book.
Yeah, take a quick peek.
There you go. Head cases. So I've looked through the promo stuff you sent through, and I had to say I smiled, probably in the wrong places. So well done. So what's the sort of like the inspiration for this book? What kind of made you think, this sounds like an idea?
It came out pretty randomly. I want to say me and AJ, the co-writer, we were basically trying to find a way to collaborate with each other. AJ had just approached me and said, "Hey, you want to write something together?" And I was like, "Sure." And we were just kind of fumbling around, coming up with ideas, and we had more of a fantasy idea planned originally, but AJ kind of wanted to get away from fantasy. He was doing a lot of similar things at the time, and he said, "Hey, I'm really liking stuff like 4 kids walk into a bank. Why don't we do something more like crime inspired?" And I was like, "Sure." Okay. And we kind of just batted some ideas around, and we just kind of came up with the central premise, or kind of the central thing that kind of pushes the story along. It's like, what if these kids steal some suitcase from some unsuspecting guy, and there just happened to be a head in it, and we kind of went on a rapid snowball of ideas from there. But that's pretty much the central idea, is like, what if these kids stole like a severed head, pretty much, pretty randomly.
You got, I mean, there's things going on there. You got a question. It's like, why 7 heads?
Yeah. It just sounded weird and macabre enough. Like, I think we got something there. Like, we're coming up with so many things with that central the thing that they were going to steal could be, and then for some reason, just like before eyes lit up, like, ew, it just tells you more about us than anything. But like, severed heads, that sounds fun.
What intrigues me is not so much the head; it's where's the rest of the body.
Yes.
So no, I've not read into this. I'm coming into it with completely fresh eyes. I'm wondering, is there different bagmen all around with different bits of bodies all over the place, and they have to like meet in a central location, like I don't know, the famous.
There very well could be. I'm not sure how much you want me to give away, but
I don't want to give anyone away. Don't give anything away, because I'm just spitballing here.
I love that part of it though, where it's like, people had so many different ideas of where it could branch off from, just from that little silly premise that you give from the top. But it goes in a very interesting direction, I feel like.
So why are the people why are they headless? What happens to the people who are looking for the people with the head?
Exactly.
Oh, man, it's like, on the cover it says 1 of 4 issues. I think you're going to try and struggle to squeeze all that into 4 issues, surely.
Yeah, we're shooting for miniseries. This is obviously, we're crowdfunding this first one here, but we're shooting for a miniseries. We have basically everything outlined, and we're ready to go. We're excited to share this entire story with everyone once we can get it out.
Okay, cool. Why go the crowdfunding route? Because I mean, loads of creators do it, whether it be through crowdfunder, whether it be through Kickstarter, Indiegogo. I can never know how many goes with Indiegogo.
Right.
Indiegogo, go.
Yeah, I think it's just the 2. So I would say some of it is impatience, I suppose. We did initially try to pitch it to publishers, and unfortunately, we just weren't getting hits. And we said, instead of just spending a bunch of time waiting for no's, or even maybe if you do get yes, just that process can just be a slog. AJ actually, he actually has a book coming out in it's either 2023 or 2024 through IDW, which is awesome.
All right. Yeah, cool.
For that, but it's like he knows, and I do as well. Just like how long that process can take in terms of being picked up by a publisher. So he said, we want to get this story out. Let's go ahead and crowdfund it. And actually, interesting enough, just when we were kind of getting ready to launch, we were approached by someone at Crowdfunder, and they're a new upstart crowdfunding platform. And we talked with them, and we just like what they had to say. And kind of with the murkiness of Kickstarter, I mean, I still support a lot of Kickstarter projects, but what was kind of happening with the crypto stuff, we were like, hey, let's just take a bite on someone new, and what's the worst that could happen if it doesn't work out, then just go back to the old same old. But we were kind of excited by what Crowdfunder represented.
So I think that's an interesting point you make, isn't it? I mean, the idea of something new. You think about it, you're relatively new. It's a new book, new premise. Why not go the whole hog?
Exactly.
Forge your own path, as it were. And I suppose part of the benefit of that is the fact that you can act as editors to your own product, right? You don't have to kowtow to a particular publisher's demand. I don't mean that in a negative way.
No,
but we know that Dark Horse like their books a certain way, Image like their books a certain way,
right?
Yeah, and for me, I see that many comic books, and I think to myself, not only does the writer and the artist have to fit the character, sometimes the book has to fit the publisher.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think exactly. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I mean, I'm sure if we found a home, that would have been awesome too. But I like the direction that we're going in. Us being self-published and just kind of it obviously being very much me and AJ. It's like there's no getting around that. there's no other hands in the pot other than our amazing artist Paulo Sampiao, obviously.
Yep, cool. So how did you get involved in comics in the first place?
So I didn't really read a ton of comics growing up, just because they were kind of expensive. But in college, I know, yeah, exactly. And only getting more expensive, right? Yeah. But in college, I had just there's like a comic shop like really right across the street from my campus, and I had just kind of stumbled in one day. I had always been a big Ninja Scrolls fan, and I went to kind of get back into it. And this is right around the same time IDW was starting up their Ninja Turtles line, and also I have just decided to take a whiff on Runaways and Civil War was happening at the same time. So all those three things kind of combined to like just suck me into comics. Like, oh my gosh! And I kind of hadn't looked back, and I was reading for a long time. But a few years later, my girlfriend, now wife, had noticed we were writing short stories together, and said, "Why don't you try making a comic?" Like, I don't know how. Yeah. She said, "Well, why don't you just go online?" And kind of a light bulb just went on my brain, like, "Oh, you can do that." And I kind of started studying. Yeah.
Now you're checking YouTube for everything. How to play video games, change your light bulb.
You can do it for comics too. It's amazing. Like seriously, there's so many more resources out now than there were even when I first started. It's awesome, just like how community source all the knowledge is now. So I got a bunch of books. I did what's that thing called? The Comics Experience. I did that for a little bit. The Comics Experience classes there. And now also I just started writing a bunch of one-pagers through this group called the Comic Jam, and I just kind of started honing my craft. And from those bunch of one-pagers, I kind of did some more shorter comics, about 4-page AP comics, and I kind of got pulled into the greater comics community through Twitter, like I think a little bit before the pandemic, really, like around 2019. Someone reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like why don't you just check out this group I know?" And I started talking to other writers and artists, and I just started slowly feeling more part of the community. And from there, kind of here we are. I had a a Kickstarter last summer called Savage Wizard, which should hopefully be fulfilling in the next couple of months. And so that was my first full-length comic, and now onto head cases, and obviously I got some more stuff cooking behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how supportive. Well, I say Twitter, right? So Twitter,
yeah, it's all been Twitter.
Twitter can be like, it can be divisive like nobody's business. I mean, the amount of hate that I keep seeing for the new Obi-Wan TV show.
Oh God,
like,
yeah.
It baffles me. I mean, I'm from an age where you never used to get Star Wars.
It's like you should be thankful for all this stuff right now, right? Yeah.
That's it. I'm like, I had to wait years for the second movie. You get like a show every week.
Right, exactly. Seriously.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Right, exactly. That's how I feel. I'm kind of similar with, again, I've always been a long-time Ninja Turtles nerd. So it's like, we're in a golden age right now for being like, Ninja Turtles fan with this new game coming out, and the Nickelodeon shows that it's like, like I'm, even if I don't love it, I'm like, I'm just grateful for all this stuff. Like there's so much stuff out there. You could go, gosh, I could watch something new like literally every day and be fine,
So this is the thing, when you talk about comics, when you talk about TV shows, when you talk about cartoons, every episode or comic or TV episode could be somebody's very first.
Yes.
And that's what sometimes I think some of the fans need to just back themselves up a little bit. On top of that, and I say this all the time, Star Wars is not meant for me. Star Wars is meant for kids. It's a kids movie.
Yeah.
That's why there's kids.
People forget that.
Yeah. Yep. I saw Star Wars back in the 70s, the first time around. When I was like,
that's how they get you hooked. They get you young, and it's like it just stays with you,
So my point, Twitter can be divisive, but it's so supportive. There's like a bunch of creators.
Two sides of the coin.
Yeah, and I think you can choose, can't you? You can choose to go play in the hair with all the comic creators, or you can decide to be a bit of a, as I call them, a neggy Nigel.
Oh yeah.
And just sort of like be a fun sponge and just suck all that energy out. I think you find a community, you stick with it, and you promote your book. I get people want to be successful, but from what I see on the outside looking in, people want everybody to be successful. It doesn't seem to be quite as well. I want to be bigger than you, so I'm not going to give you any advice.
Right?
It's not like that, right?
No. Yeah, it's been great to kind of get pulled into that, and also to give back. I tried as much as possible. I'm not sure how much I know, but to definitely give other writers or whoever else all the tips and tricks that I know, just so you don't have to waste time fumbling in the dark. It helps so much to have a community, in terms of steering you from what not to do and saving you some money. Like it's huge. So I love that part of the Twitter community, and I try to stay on the positive end as much as I can. And it's been awesome to share what little knowledge I have, and also to be a recipient of that, because I've managed to do a couple of cons before. Again, the pandemic and everything. And even before I had a lot to my name, like people were, again, in person, so supportive, and I've had some really awesome people that have been champions of my work. So it's always great to dish that stuff out, not just soak it up, but to be a champion of other people's work, and just be as supportive as you can in the community.
I definitely agree. I agree wholeheartedly. So your Twitter is there on the screen, as is HA's. I have to ask, a writing combo.
Yeah.
How's that work?
It's tricky.
It's like, is one guy plot and the other guy dialogue? Or is it like, oh, I've got this great idea. Well, no, I've got this great idea. How's that kind of like merge together?
It's fun because I feel like collaborative process is different. And so, again, like I said, I had another co-written comic that I put out last year, and it's very different from this one. So for this one with AJ, what we did actually for this comic is I wrote this first issue, and then he went back and edited everything. So we kind of together kind of nitpicked and kind of fine-tuned things. So it's very different process. For before, it's kind of like a back and forth. So I kind of like every time I work with a new collaborator or new writer, it's very different. So this is really cool to, like I said, kind of plot everything out together, but I was literally the one to put on all the specific dialogue points, and then like we with the fine tooth comb together, like maybe that doesn't work so much, or this doesn't fit their character's voice. So it's a very different process this time around.
You're very brave. You're very brave.
It was a little scary, honestly. I was like, I don't want to mess this up. And he's like, no, we can do this. I'm like, oh, if you say so.
I get super defensive.
Yeah.
I read my reviews and someone says there should be a comment there. I'm like, no, there shouldn't. That's not the tone I'm looking for. So it's cool. So let's have another look at the book. We're not going to dive too much into it. I'm just giving teasers here because I want people to go to.
Yeah, definitely. That's what comics are about. The art. I mean, my words are nice, but come on, the art's really what everyone's here for.
I looked at the cover. I'm going to go back to the cover for a little bit. Because the cover, I think, is absolutely gorgeous.
I love that cover. I'm so in love with that cover. Paulo did an amazing job. We just kind of gave him a couple ideas, and he just knocked that out of the park. I'm obsessed with this cover. I've
got to say that cover, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass, but on this cover looks like it could be one of the major players' covers.
Thank you.
It looks that good. It looks like it's an IDW book or a Dynamite book or something of that ilk where the production values are so good.
I appreciate that. We're definitely obviously aiming for that since we're looking for publishers initially, but that's definitely where everyone on the team, that's where their heads at. It's like, we want something polished. We want something, of that nature, where you could see that on a shelf for sure at some point.
Definitely. I hope that's not where the heads are at.
Right? No, a little bit more metaphorical.
That's the premise of the plot. Come and work for us on this comic book. Come on, and if it sucks, you're going to be in the book,
right?
Or at least part of you is. And then you switch to the interior art, and it kind of there's a nice juxtaposition between the dark cover with the horror vibe. And then you open into this, and it's like, oh, look, it's two kids on a subway. It's quite a change.
Yeah, it's a big change.
Wait, subways aren't that big, right?
No.
Creative license on that.
Exactly.
So what was the reason for the kind of change on that then?
So the cover, I think we mostly just went that direction because it's cool. The book is not necessarily a straight up horror book. It's definitely more of like a crime thriller. So it does kind of have that horror vibe, but we tried to not go all the way there just because you can see them, like if you switch back to cover, they're not like like the faces of our two protagonists, Hila and Ramon, are, I feel like they're kind of engaging with what's going on. So they're not like, scared out of their minds or anything like that. So it's like, there's a little bit of horror vibe there, but mostly it's just like the aesthetic is awesome. And then like we kind of go back into what the book is really about, which is it's a crime thriller with some kind of hijinks along the way. Basically, the quick little pitch I like to give lately is this book is more Ferris Bueller meets Pulp Fiction if you're kind of looking for a vibe.
Cool. Excellent. I like how there's focus on the character's face, because when it comes to superhero comics, it's all about the dynamic pose and the muscles and the When it comes to crime comics or books where has to be sort of like a more subtler impact, you've got to get the faces right. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, so that's huge here.
So when you and AJ are writing this, do you kind of give nods to the artist to say, look, she looks pensive. She needs to be like on this bottom panel, for example, she's got like a practically cheeky little wink going on there, she's got something up her sleeve. Do you kind of give those kind of nods? Oh,
definitely. We're definitely letting Paulo know that, or even if it's necessary, giving him like a visual reference if we can find something like specific. So definitely letting him know like, oh yeah, like this person's pensive, or like or this person maybe has like a sinister look in their eye, but we're definitely kind of giving him that the feedback, like, because like you said, it's very important for a crime comic that is not going to have all the kind of the big explosions or the superpowers and stuff. You really have to kind of strip things down to the core of the emotions and the other stuff that's happening in the comic.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's great. It's funny because how you describe that, it reminds me of the clips of where I've seen they've made the Spider-Verse movie. You know, because they get the animators act out the scene.
Oh yeah.
And then they go and say, like, right, okay, so that's what it looks like. And then when you see Miles walking through the class, that's
literally what the motion capture was doing.
Yeah, like the old retroscope type of animation. So, and it's kind of that same sort of thing. You want this look, you want this particular angle, you want this motion through the book to show.
Yeah.
I think I have to say, I know you say it's a crime book, but there's some dark comedy in there.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, whoa.
That's definitely intended. So thank you.
Yeah, like as I said earlier, I'm smiling at bits. I'm thinking to myself, I shouldn't really be smiling at this. But hey ho, that's the way it goes, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to take a quick break before we get more into more books. Let's see. You said you were a Runaways fan, so does that mean you're more Marvel or DC?
You definitely skew more Marvel. Sorry, don't hate me, DC folks, but definitely skew a bit more Marvel.
I'm a DC folk. Thanks.
Sorry. But you know what? There are some DC books I love.
Don't try to get out of it now.
I don't know. It's always been a bit more Marvel, but I mean, I do love, Batman Beyond was something that's always stuck with me and Static, and I'm looking forward to the new Milestone initiative stuff also. So,
okay, well,
DC's got some heat as well.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm just having a look through the adverts that we're going to play. You mentioned you like the Turtles. I know the Turtles make an appearance in this one. So here we go. This is the ever popular, the ever famous Crisis in the Toyverse. There you go, Crisis in the Toyverse from Bobo. Plenty of videos for you got to check as he unboxes, checks out the figures. You never know, your favorite figure might be on there. I know he's got a love on for the moment for the McFarlane toys, so you never know what's coming up. Cool. Are you a figure guy, Leslie?
Not a huge one, only because it's expensive, but I do have a couple. I have a couple of the NECA TMNT from the original movie, and I have a couple random ones, but I can't afford to keep up, unfortunately. But if funds were limited, for sure.
People buy me them, so I'm like, okay, cool, thanks, appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned the Turtle fan. Did you read The Last Ronin?
I have not yet. I'm actually very far behind. Even though I know they say it doesn't connect with the main story, but it's just I'm very anal in the sense that I have to catch up with everything else before I read any side story. So one, I have to get caught back up on the main series, and also I have to read Last Ronin, obviously. But I've been avoiding spoilers. Luckily, I've not seen any spoilers.
I'm not going to say any. I'm not going to say anything. But,
thank you.
But man, the first issue, my socks were blown off.
Wow.
And I'm not a huge Turtle fan, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it. I'm like, I just really need to get caught up ASAP.
Cool, excellent. All right, so we talked a little bit about how you write. You talked about the communication, I guess, with Paolo. How is that? You mentioned you wrote the first one, and AJ wrote is more of the editor from that point, and then it conjoined. How do you feel then when you put your baby out there? Right? Then you've got AJ coming on. Then you've got Paolo adding his 2 cents worth art wise.
Yeah.
You sometimes think, oh my god, I hope it doesn't snowball away from me, or do you have like complete trust in the guys that you work with?
Yeah, so writing comics, you definitely have to trust your collaborators. And I mean, I've been blessed to work with someone as awesome as Paulo. We found him and we were immediately impressed with what he had. But as soon as he started doing like character design, we're like, oh my gosh, like, yes, this guy is incredible. And then again, like seeing like the rest of his scripts, it's like, I can't believe like it's the speed at which he works is like amazing. And the speed and to still the art look as incredible as it does has been like amazing. And so like when we first had everything scripted out, and like I said, even just his roughs were like, wow. And then like after he had his inks finish, he made some changes and we're like, oh yep, you're right, like this makes so much sense, like you made it so much better, like
I hear that. I hear that a lot of writers. I hear it like, oh, I wanted to go this way, then the artist give me this, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's I swear it happens like almost every time. It's something you learn as a writer. Initially when it started out, it was more like you need to do this, and this, and like you learn to kind of step back and not to be so much of a micromanager. And I think once you do that, once you're really collaborating with an artist, that's when you see some incredible stuff. And yeah, Paulo has just again like blown our socks off. And Warnia too, her colors like on this page, like I just like so like just my jaw drops like every time I look at these colors. That natural lighting coming off is just so amazing, so incredible to watch.
I am absolutely gobsmacked. I see a lot of comics. I review for Comic Crusaders, our sister site, and you know what? I would love to see this. This book it's full of great designs. The colors are vibrant. It's pacey. There's great facial elements going on, as we mentioned. One of the things I was really impressed with, from a writing point of view, was the social commentary. So especially on this page here, we've got is it Ramon? He's giving us. Is there my accent there? I tried it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the UK that'd be Raymond.
Right.
He's kind of given Hiller a kind of bad time. He doesn't want to get caught up in the crazy white girl stuff.
Yeah.
And part of me, when I first read that seemed such a natural thing to hear. How do you because I mean, obviously there's a lot of debate around lots of different things on the internet. We talked a little bit about Obi-Wan earlier. How do you kind of tread that line between wanting to sound realistic versus other people's attitudes might say, well, why are you bringing this up in the book like this?
Well, one, definitely want to keep things natural. I didn't obviously try too hard. So it's like, I'm sure I wrote that. And then obviously immediately you want to get a second set of eyes. Like, what do you think about this? And it's like immediately AJ, no, he's like, no, this is perfect. He loved it. And I run it by other peers and they're like, no, like that makes, but it's good to be cognizant of things, but also not to overthink them too much. So obviously you run things by peers, and if you have 5, 6 people, not just like people who are same as me, who like assist guy, but like like a couple, obviously like people of all different walks of life, and if they are not like saying, hey, this is a problem, like, hey, like I think that's fair game. So like I wrote that and I was like, I was kind of on the fence, but again, like everyone, no, it's natural. It makes sense, and it just hits that moment home. I think even more like what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah, exactly. It's of the moment. It's not saying one thing or the other. It's a character being frustrated.
Right.
Boom. That's where for me it reads very natural. I really liked it. But I get what you're saying. I wrote a review recently for a book that can be described as cheesecake. Cheesecake art, and I'd put down something like because it's a swimsuit issue.
Okay.
So I'd put down suns out, guns out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my wife's like, you can't say that. Do you mean guns as in like body parts, or do you mean guns as like people getting shot? I'm like, I'm talking about guns, man. Guns.
Yeah. Right.
Guns. I'm not talking about anything else. But I ran it past her because I was like, in my head it sounds all right, but then she made a couple of valid points, and I thought, I'm leaving it in. So I did.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens when it hits.
Right. But it's always good, even if you still go with it, it's good to hear someone else's, perspective. Yeah. So yeah.
Definitely. I'm not going past that page. I'm going to leave that there.
Oh wow.
I'm going to let people go, what?
Yeah.
So sorry, spoilers are over now. Bye.
Yeah, you'll just have to check out the book.
Yeah, so talk to me about crowdfunding then, because this is a new website.
Yes, it is.
Website up on there, which is linked to it. Boom, there you go. So it's dead simple. Headcasescomic.com.
Mm-hmm.
He says, checking it. Yep, perfect. That's it. So, talk to me about crowdfunding. It's the same sort of gig as Kickstarter, I understand.
Yeah, essentially. Yes. So again, I was kind of approached by some people there and said, hey, why not? But pretty much they are launching the same time as the comic is, which is June 21st. And they basically, if you've heard of Fundraiser, they were kind of like the bigger or sister company to Crowdfunder. And initially they were kind of more like, what's that? GoFundMe. They're more like a GoFundMe in the sense that they were mostly focused on like nonprofits and like, people who are trying to raise money for medical issues and things of that nature. And they had like a random comic person go on there and manage to like raise a lot of money and said, well, we're not really serving our creative community as best as we can with this site that's more focused on that nonprofit stuff. So why don't we kind of splinter off and start something new? And that's kind of how Crowdfunder was born. And so like it's more focused on comics and movies and all other kind of creative avenues. And they are a much smaller operation than Kickstarter and stuff. So I've been able to to the founder and everything. And I've been hearing realistic things, but also what I'm hearing is very encouraging. So it's like they're not, it's just blowing smoke on my butt. They're telling me that obviously it's hard to kind of bring an audience into a brand new platform, but we're gonna do our best, to bring some awareness to them, and also they're gonna have a huge marketing blitz that's coming soon. Let's say launch officially June 21st. So I'm kind of excited to see what that brings, and I'm always rooting for underdogs, and I mean it's just good to have more than one.
I'm a Dolphins fan. We're always the underdog.
Exactly. And I think it's always just good to have, more than one resource available. So if we can broaden the crowdfunding sphere, that's all the better. So I'm excited to see what Crowdfunder is going to do once launch day comes.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. So talk about crowdfunding, talk about fulfillment then. Are you a digital comics fan versus a in your hand fan, or do you prefer the floppies?
I'm a little bit of both, actually. I just got a fancy new tablet, so I think I'll be doing even more. Yeah,
there's a fence outside your apartment. Go and sit on that.
I know, right? But I think so. Like lately, I've definitely been moving more digital. But I mean, you just can't beat. I know you really can't beat the physical. Holding it in your hands is the best. But the next best thing I think is having like a nice big tablet and reading them that way for sure.
I'm kind of on the fence with you on this one. My preference will always be actual copies.
Yeah.
But because I see so many, and I'm in the UK.
It's pricey, right?
Yeah, people aren't going to be shipping me review copies. I need to get them to come across digitally. So I'm part of the digital revolution and go through.
Yeah, and also with having so many comics, it's just like a space thing as well. So it's like
really, you want to talk to me about space?
Yeah, I mean,
2 bookcases full, man. I'm going to
you got them organized nicely.
Just see the reading mess. See if I can show you that.
The reading pile, how bad is it?
There you go.
Oh wow, that's a pretty nice read pile. My read pile is like a literal mess. I wish it was nearby so I could show off. But
it's organized into back issues that I've bought that I've yet to read, new issues that I've read but haven't filed away yet, and new issues that I've yet to read. And then my wife says, "Oh, that's all well and good, but what's this 4th pile for?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm just making it up as I'm going along. Like,
That's I'll figure it out later, pal.
yeah. Okay, I'll get to that pile.
Yeah.
I'll get to that pile. So you've had a successful Kickstarter last year. You're on the crowdfunding now. Who are your writing influences? Where do you kind of draw your kind of writing inspiration from?
Brian K. Vaughan is a huge one, obviously. Again, I came up on Runaways, and also Why the Last Man was hugely inspirational to me in terms of trying to go ahead and start writing. So Brian K. Vaughan is a huge one. Brian O'Malley is also one there as well with Scott Pilgrim and Seconds were books that I just like, what? You can do this in comics? Like, so yeah, those guys for sure.
Cool. They're quite different in
yeah,
styles.
I know my writing. I take a lot of inspiration from life, but also just like whatever is good, I'll just gravitate towards. So my it's all over the place.
You can't be saying from life. That means people think you found a head.
Yeah,
I was walking down the street one day and. Cool. So the book is out on the 21st of June, right?
Yes.
Then it's a crowdfunder launch.
Yes.
You can check out headcasescomic.com. You can subscribe to get notifications, correct?
That's right.
Yay, it's like I've done my research. All right, at which point you'll then get the notification that the crowdfunder's up, available.
Yes.
With crowdfunder, do you have the same sort of pledge scheme that Kickstarters have, where if you hit a certain margin, you get extra stuff?
So we're planning to do like a kind of lean campaign. So we AJ are still trying to figure things out. It's likely we're not going to do much else other than if we hit that next goal, then we'll probably try to use any additional funding for like the next book. So there probably won't be any like stickers or t-shirts, anything like that. Most likely, like we just want to put money into. I know. We're very tempted.
I want that cover on a t-shirt. That's what I would be all over that, like stink on poo.
If I hear enough of that, then maybe we'll reconsider. But yeah, we're mostly just like, okay, like any additional money is going to go towards funding issue 2. We want to get issue 2 in people's hands as soon as possible. But I know I am also tempted because man, that cover. Every time I look at
that cover on a grey t-shirt would just absolutely be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I am there. Remember mate rates when you do it, all right? Cool.
Your friends and mine.
I don't know, do you have mate rates over there instead?
No, but I think I get what you're getting at. So
Cool. That's fine. Cool. Excellent. Okay, so there you go. We've looked at the book. The book is due out on the 21st of June. The crowdfunding starts then. You can go start subscribing now to get your notifications.
Yes.
So you can get your pledges in for the book. It's a great looking book. I am absolutely gobsmacked, and I don't say this a lot, but I am absolutely gobsmacked that a publisher has not picked this up. I do
pass on the praise.
I honestly do not understand why. When I look at the quality of the book that I've seen so far, and I just don't get it. I just do not understand why. When I see so many books out there, and I think to myself, why are you publishing this? Who's spending $4.95 on this? And then something comes along like this, and I'm like, why isn't it not? Honestly, it is absolutely.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
It looks great. It made me smile. I want to know what's happening, and I've been around comics for too long. So you've got me hooked. Yeah. So there you go on that.
It's a great sell.
Yeah, cool. The website is there for you to go and check out. Also, don't forget to check out Leslie and AJ's Twitter feeds. I'm sure there'll be plenty of updates and notifications coming.
They're coming.
There.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As long as you never know, you might even get some sneak peeks of some art.
That's true.
I'm not spoiling anything. I'm not saying a word. Cool. All right, AJ, thank you so much for spending. Leslie, sorry.
No, I got you. All good. Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I really do appreciate it taking the.
No, thanks so much for having me, Johnny.
Yeah, you're welcome. Your book, I can't. It's great. I am blown away by it. I look forward to seeing that for definite, for sure. And if you ever need a review comic for it, hit me up. I'll make sure you get
definitely.
I'll make sure you get a review on Comic Crusaders.
Excited. Yeah, I'll definitely do that once it's all done.
All right, there you go. We're all done in one. So, Leslie, thanks again. Don't forget to check out UCPN for all your favorite shows, including if you're into Marvel like Leslie, then you can check out the No Price podcast for all your Marvel comics, your Disney Plus and your MCU. I've got my D's all mixed up. For DC fans, you've got the TDC, the Definitive Crusade. And if you're like me, you like comics a little bit older, you've got the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. There you go. All in, fair warning. Leslie, thank you very much. And for everybody else, I've been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. Adios.
Cheers.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.